This is the Bar Steward's Enquiry.
Right? You're talking absolute rubbish. Absolute rubbish.
In what way?
You were an underachiever in life. I saved your bacon one time. You were gone.
You handled that well. I couldn't save you. But you did the right thing.
But that's why you don't know anything about racing, John.
I didn't say I do.
Right?
I'm saying that...
What have you contributed to racing? You're one of these take-out merchants. Take out all you can.
Hello. Big one, welcome. Yes, it's an informative and big weekend of racing. We've got Ascot, the Ascot Chase. We've also got the Reynoldstown there. At Haydock, it's the Grand National Trial, and the Rendlesham. And at Wincanton, it's the Kingwell. So plenty of action for us this weekend. Now, we're recording this show a day early, so what we'll do on Best Bets Round is go Betfair SP, but we'll mention the price at the time as a guide, just so you know at the time of recording. That's what we're on about. If something's shortened drastically, then it's obviously not our fault. And joining me on this show are my two best people on Barsters, really, Jonas Lang and Andy Richmond. Good evening, chaps.
Good evening.
Hello, everyone.
Why wouldn't you be the best two people? Because, of course, you have won the Nats tables, and I haven't. And so, therefore, you are...
So we were the only two available.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, the only two available on Thursday when we're recording.
Yeah. Can be
You
asked.
only got me because it's an hour before Emmerdale.
I've not watched it since Mr. Wilkes.
I don't watch it. I go on the Twitter chat. It's hilarious. Emmerdale and Curry, honest to God.
John, what I can tell is that it's winter, because I never see any of this when we get to York in May.
Yeah.
So I can tell how bored you are at racing.
Climb the walls.
Having said that, this week I'm really enthusiastic about opinion, but I've said that before.
I'm glad somebody is. I'm like fucking happy.
Before we continue with the Best Bets Round, I'd just like to inform you of our schedule. Bastards on Friday are taking a 2-week break after this show, so there'll be no shows for the next 2 Fridays. The Sunday sermon is as normal. We've got Stuart Williams coming on Sunday. That's been already recorded. And on Wednesday for Patreon subscribers, we've got John Lang and the Stout Years. So get your £7 out, because in my opinion, not necessarily John's opinion, my opinion, it's one of the best I've recorded. I thought it was fantastic. So that's John the Stout Years next Wednesday. That will be the 21st of February. And then the following Sunday, it's another sermon that's also pre-recorded with all the best gambles, coups and bankruptcies in racing over the years. What's not to like? That's what we do. We entertain, and we're here all night. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. So the Best Bets Round, Andy Richmond, coming to you first for your 1-point selection.
Right, I'm going to go to Haydock, which hopefully will survive. Although if it's anything like the 2 drownings I've had on the 2 previous days to today, it's going to be absolutely bog deep there. I'm going for a race that I don't normally play in these sorts of races, but I like this one when I saw it win at Leicester, beating another one that actually reopposes. And I'm amazed another horse that I actually like is favourite in this. I'm referring to Late Night Pass as the favourite, but I cannot see how they've made that favourite over a horse called Mount Fuji Park, who has won both his races under rules. Once at Fosslas in the probably not too bad a slop, but definitely in the Uber slop at Leicester last time out. It was really testing conditions there. And he did look a really potentially useful horse there. He'd had 3 months off. He stayed on really well to beat Alcedo. I think in time, this horse is very much going to be a chaser, but this looked the obvious next target for him after he'd won at Leicester. I thought he beat Alcedo with a little bit more in hand than the half a length winning margin would suggest. And I think there's only one firm priced up, which is obviously Billy Hills. I think they're around 11-2. I made this around probably nearer 7-2, 4-1 chance. I know we're doing Betfair SP, but I'll have 1 point on Mount Fuji Park to troll his way through the Haydock Park Uber slop in the Prestige. That's the 4:25 on Saturday.
I agree, Andy. I agree what you've just said there about he won with more superiority than what it looked. And
I like the second. I think the second could be a nice horse as well, but I just thought there was a little bit left in the tank as well. Just looks a useful prospect. I like the late night pass as a horse, and I think he's got a decent. I mean, he's winged his way around the old cross country courses, and he looks to probably have a bit of a chance in the national. Probably one of the few British horses that actually does. That's if we ever get any in the race. But I just thought it was a strange favourite to make him. I know if you looked at his chase rating, he's in front of these on their ratings. But Mount Fuji Park, I just think he'll go on the ground. Won well last time out. I just think he's a progressive horse. I just thought that. I mean, that price of 11-2 is a little bit too big.
When everyone listens to this, it might not be that.
It might not be. Yes, it might not be. Yeah. So,
but we've got to be fair.
I said I'd be happy. I'd be happy to play. That's why I said I'd be happy to play him at probably 4-1, 9-2 mark.
Good stuff. Thanks, Andy, for the price guide. John, coming to you for your 1 pointer.
I'm in the 6:45 at Wolves. Funnily enough, because there's not much racing on that afternoon. New one. One bred by the owner. This is interesting, because it's left the kilt and gone to the scaffolder. Got a stinking ride on debut from Mullen. Missed the kick, and then for a debutant, he badgered the horse non-stop till it was getting near the front rank, maybe 4 furlongs out. So he's ground up on all the field in the space of 3 furlongs. Managed to stay front rank for 2 furlongs. Then it took its toll. He didn't finish its race off. And as I say, they only took that one away from the kilt, sold another one that he had with the kilt. So he might not have been entirely thrilled with what happened there. The scaffolder has given this plenty of time to get over that. And for a fair-sized horse, I'm encouraged by he thinks he's ready to go at this time of year. I thought Tatatio improved from debut to run really well last time. It was back like expected to improve as well. I think that one looks the danger, but I think this is all right. It's a 1 point win bet.
Good stuff. New one. I confess I've not looked at Wolverhampton yet, but yeah.
Betfair's price fine. I don't think there'll be anywhere near price.
No, nothing there at all. Okay, my first 1 point win goes in the 225 Ascot, and it's the valuable handicap hurdle of 2 miles, 3.5 furlongs. Big field, but I still think there's a lot of mileage in the mark of rare edition. Might be a bit boring because it is 5. It has been a little bit bigger, 7 into 11-2 as we speak. But I'd be a player at 5-1 plus on the machine. I think this horse, if you look at him last season, when he thumped Rubord, he was second to Marble Sands, when it was just not his day. He didn't do things right either. And this is pretty strong form. Obviously unlucky when we tipped him up at Doncaster on the show when he was third to Dromino. The horse took a massive keen hold. It took a lot of hurdles out. It was funny form. And then he comfortably, I thought, beat Francham last time. Again, it's not form I'm bouncing about, but it was a small field. I just think this horse, if he can just settle better off a stronger pace, maybe sat handy, I think he'll be a better horse. And this course will suit him, sat handy. And going up in trip, I think, will also suit him. So, rare edition for me, 1 point win, Betfair SP. Guide price would be 5-1 plus. John, I'll swing it round to you for 2 points.
Right, I mean, the 3:15 is Haddock. This one disappointed last time in the Great Yorkshire Chase, famous bridge.
Yes.
However, I confidently expected that one to disappoint last time in the Great Yorkshire Chase.
Yes.
Because I thought the quicker surface would not suit. Neither would the dynamics of Doncaster, where they tend to go rattling pace there anyway in that race. This is much more his bag, in my opinion. Last time he made a bad mistake at the third. He was never on an even keel. As I say, back on this slow muck that Haydock kindly provide for us at every meeting. I think the mark's still workable. It's pretty unlikely he's a national horse, so this is probably his national. From the outsider, I did look at full back. I think he's best at extreme trips on slop, and he's won a handicap off higher. He's only 9. He seems as though he's been around forever and quite well seasoned. But I'm going to stick with Famous Bridge, 2 points win.
Yeah, I think we all said on the show, didn't we, about Famous Bridge's entry for Doncaster. We didn't get it. Unusual for Cotton Wool Nicky to,
Yeah.
I think, make a mistake like that. You know, quicker ground. It's a quick track, Doncaster, despite the galloping nature. Got to be sort of hand.
Still held his own in the betting as well, didn't he? You know, as though they were thinking, well, we're still all right here on this mark and whatever.
Yeah. And we'll talk about it in depth later, but I think you're on the right lines. He'd be a lot shorter had he not run at Doncaster.
Yes.
So it's good logic from your very self there for your 2 points on the nose. 6-1 sort of guide price at the moment. Obviously, John on at SP. Okay, come to me, where I'm going to the Kingwell. I like sticking to the TV action for you guys, just give you a bit more entertainment. And I would like to play a reverse forecast in the Kingwell hurdle. There's a couple of equine wankers in here.
You're pulling a Nick Davis.
Yeah, it's a long time since Davis has been on the show. Davis, of course, coming back for the flat.
I want to see him on the show because, you know, after that 6-0 drubbing my mob handed out to him the other day.
Yes, he's sick.
He'd have been out with the Stanley knife on Sunday, wouldn't he?
He would. He'd been in the barleycorn, dishing it out with old Nick. But yeah, in memory of Nick, he's coming back on the. We've penciled him in for the Lincolnshire.
Lincoln, getting back to the Lincoln.
Yeah, he loves the Lincoln.
It's only 40 odd days.
Yeah, exactly. He's back. Yeah. So reverse forecast.
That's the bloody naps table, fuck, isn't it?
No, this one's certainly not going to make fortunes, but Colonel Mustard and Nemean Lion are the ones for the reverse forecast in the Kingwell. The main reason being that, amazingly, Rhubarb was putting 11 to 10 fav for this. I'm sure they don't study racing.
Who put that in?
Yeah, I don't know. Strange, isn't it? And if you look, so they met last spring, did Colonel Mustard and Rhubarb. Old Colonel Mustard had to give Rhubarb £13 in the Scottish Champion Hurdle last year and got beat 3 lengths. Now you look at the weight terms today, and Rhubarb is giving Colonel Mustard 6. So Colonel Mustard is £19 better off for 3 lengths. A whopping turnaround in the weights there. And Lorcan Williams on board Rhubarb, and I'm not really a massive fan. Another thing is that Nichols went on telly after Ginny's Destiny won the other week, and he said that Ginny's Destiny worked all over Rhubarb. Well, that's not exactly a glowing testament to his chances in a Kingwell. And the one that I'm pairing it with, obviously Gershon will just be Gershon. The one I'm pairing it with is Nemean Lion, who is definitely going forwards, an improving horse, nothing not to like. He didn't quite go his way in the Greatwood, but he was impressive at Foss Lass, I felt, beating any harm in asking, and ran a perfectly good race in the Lanzarote. And he does travel very well. And this is the thing, I do like Nemean Lion. So, and Colonel Mustard does get beat quite a lot. But then again, if you look at Colonel Mustard's company, John Bond, Stateman, not a lot to not like, really. So the point reverse forecast, those 2, please, for me. Yes, I have to settle for the industry 30% over round on the forecast for that one. But anyway, I just thought that's the bet. If you're a Betfair player, maybe lay Rhubarb is my advice for that race. Andy Richmond.
We're going back to Ascot. The handicap there at 3 o'clock, I believe. That's the one. And we're going back to Venetia because I just think this Victorino, I just don't think the race suited him last time out. I mean, It's been noticeable for most of the season at Cheltenham, as it has at Doncaster as well, that if you're near the front end of the near the front end of the pace, you generally tend to win. There's only been a couple of horses like the Carrots Cromwell pair of Molina Girl and La Malmaison have come from way off the pace in chases. And the race that he ran in last time out, Victorino, when he finished 7th of 13, he was miles off the pace. And the race was won by G.A. Law at the front end. And he was back in trip as well. I just don't think the horse suited him. As soon as they went past the post, I thought, well, that's an Ultima horse for you. But they're running him here. I presume they've probably got the Ultima in mind for him. And he was kept wide. He was off the pace. The race just didn't work out for him. And I just think it was a complete antithesis of his Ascot victories. And he was beaten 22 lengths in the end. But I still think the horse is quite well handicapped. It's a record. It's a race she's got a good record in. And if you look through the race, you could hardly say anything is particular. I mean, looking at the current betting, I think there's only a couple of places priced up. You've got 3 under through 5. Don't like that horse. Sham Blue, I still don't think it's recovered from that bad fall at Wetherby that time when he was miles clear. Iron Bridge, look, his first preference is going to be Haydock. Revels Hill, question mark. And there's not really much in it. Larry won a joke race at Plumpton last time out. There's not an awful lot in the race. I think he's at the moment, he's around a sort of 7-2 chance with some of the firms. Just looking at it here, obviously we can't take that. And you'd get done with a rule 4 on Iron Bridge probably if he more than likely comes out. But even at around, BSP, which I think could probably be around sort of 5-2, 11-4, something like that. I'm quite happy to have a couple of points on Victorino. He's won twice over course and distance this year. I just think this trip and course suit him much better. And if he were to go back to Cheltenham over a longer trip, I would be equally happy to back him there. But I just think it was the trip that did him last time out and the riding tactics. So more positives this time, Mr. Deutsch, please. And Victorino, 2 points to win.
Well summed up, Andy. 7-2 guide price. I'll kick off the 3-pointers and klaxon you straight away with Victorino. Yes. You made the case. There's nothing really for me to add to that. You've summed it up perfectly well. There's nothing else I can really say, so I won't bother. But it's a good klaxon, and I will make a prediction. Obviously, Iron Bridge is, if Haydock goes on, he's a likely non-runner.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I would make Victorino about a 7-4 chance. We'll go through the race later, but there's some mileage there at the guide price that we're talking about. Victorino is my max bet. Andy, I'll swing it straight back round to you then for your maximum.
Right. Well, I'm afraid as much as with great trepidation, I'm going to oppose John in the Grand National trial. Because while I respect his very good opinions, as I always do, on Famous Bridge, I actually quite like. I'm going to be a bit of split slate wankering because I couldn't make my mind up between these two. And in fact, there is another lurker in here in that man from the Cromwell yard who, I don't know, I just don't think he jumps well enough, but I'm a bit frightened of him. And obviously respect Famous Bridge. But the two I like are the two out of the Welsh Grand National. Now, you could say that could have left a mark, but I think Iron Bridge has been off long enough. They've given that a long enough break now to come back into this. He looks a decent young stayer. There's no worry about the ground. If anything, last time out, he was the one who paid for really trying to put it up to Nassalam. And I think, again, the winning distance was a bit exaggerated there. But he looked back in form. He's always been a horse I liked. And the other one I like is the Welsh Grand National, other runner from the Welsh Grand National, I Will Do It. Well, I just think it's dropped to a really good mark now. He's a sort of regular in these long distance chases. I think he'll appreciate. He's had a run since the Welsh Grand National, and they ran him over 2 miles 6 at Lingfield in that Fleur de Lis chase.
Yes,
which was a little bit surprising, but I didn't think he ran that badly there. He's quite a classy animal. I like the booking of Dylan Johnson. I think the kid's a very good young rider. Takes £5 off, and although he's top weight in this, I do think he's a decent chance in this. So I'm going to split the stakes, 1.5 points on each on Iron Bridge, and I Will Do It to give the Welsh Grand National form a little bit of a boost.
Good stuff, mate. 11-2 and 7-1 available. I think all 3 cases. I could back all 3. What you've just said. Yeah.
Well, I could as well. I mean, no horse has ever actually done the double in that race. I don't think there'd be any Grand National winners in it this year, but we have had Grand National winners out of it. Red Rum, Party Politics, Earth Summit, Monmouth, and Neptune Collonges all won the race. Not in the same year. What
did this race used to be called? I forgot. Not the Tim Maloney, Peter Marsh.
I think it was. I think they changed the names of these races at all, but I've got a feeling it might have been run under a different name. There was a Tim Maloney, wasn't there?
It was the Greenhalgh's Gold Cup, wasn't there? It was the Greenhalgh Whitley, I think.
Was it?
Was it Red Rum's warm-up race for the Nationals?
Yeah, he won it.
But that was the Greenhalgh Whitley.
Right.
But not in the same year. So I'd have to go back and could dig me chasers and hurdlers out for that one, mate. Answers on a postcard.
Good stuff. Yeah, listeners, get in touch on Twitter and let us know what that's been called. Right, John, finish the round and finish us off.
This will finish us off, all right. Dear listener out there in internet land, do you ever harken back to the good old days? The late 80s, early 90s, when the Human League got dropped by the record label, Thatcher left Downing Street in tears, Campbell's meatballs were still advertising on the telly, and Martin Pipe used to send his jockeys out with the instructions, go as fast as you can, get to the front and keep improving your position. Well, those days are over, I'm afraid. So we approach the nap with some trepidation, because it's no longer Martin Pipe, it's David. But I do think he's plotted one up here in the 450 at Wincanton, and that is chauffeur driven. Handicapped on runs over 2 miles. To this inexperienced eye, he's looked to be gagging for further. He's a 65k winning pointer. There's a very adequate 10% claimer taking 7 off, which in the old days was just to make sure. And I don't think this is the deepest of races. He's been in my tracker for a little while. Looks like Saturday's Judgment Day. So in we go, 3 points win.
That's a fairly sort of unexposed selection there, John. And yeah, I can see your case there. Yeah, you sneaked that one in on a Saturday as well. Might not get a lot of attention, that race, in terms of what we've got on offer. So yeah, they might just get away with that in terms of being able to get on, so to speak. But yeah, interesting selection.
Yeah, could be driving that one home, couldn't he?
Boom! Andy's here all night with that lot. So hopefully you've enjoyed the selections, and hopefully we can make you a few quid this weekend with some obviously sound logic. Right, coming on to Saturday's television races, like I say, it's good. I can't knock Saturday. I'm not saying it's top class. It's quite competitive for a change. You know, we're not dealing with 4 to 9s and 2 to 7s every race and bore fests.
Wait for the festival for those.
Yeah, exactly that. This is it. So I'm quite enthusiastic about Saturday's cards. Right, so we'll start off at Haydock, the 240, the Rendlesham hurdle. Botox has currently, at the time of recording, is 9 to 4. Butch, a very well named horse. He's a fantastically named horse. 5 to 2. Red Risk at 7 to 2. I don't think Red Risk can turn around the form with Botox has from Weatherby, because Botox, I think, took every hurdle out of the ground. I think that day. This is a much easier task. I'd be scared of Butch getting the £6 because Butch fights like a lion. Like I say, he's very, very well named. So I would love to hear your two's thoughts on the Rendlesham.
I think we should all want Sounds Russian to win this, shouldn't we?
Oh, Ruths, of course. Yeah, no, I can't forget Ruths. I've not mentioned Ruths. No.
I mean, I'm not saying it should win, but these others are a bit boring, aren't they? And if this is going to do something this year, it wants to be somewhere near its chasing mark now. I think fingers crossed, Ruth has still got a live one there, maybe. And I'll be rooting for Sounds Russian, if not necessarily betting.
I know what you mean. I just wonder if this is just a blowout for something in the spring, because obviously...
You'd have to be somewhere near, though, but now, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I mean, look, if everything's okay, obviously not ran since getting brought down in the old Gold Cup. But I agree, John. You know, this is a class horse. I probably should have mentioned him, really. I just assumed spin. But, Andy, your thoughts?
Well, you do assume that, don't you? I mean, he's got... I mean, it's going to be, you know, we all know it's going to be at Haydock on Saturday. It is going to be slop. I mean, I live, 10 miles away from the track as a crow flies. It's been pissing down with rain for about the last 2 weeks. So it will be heavy there. Sounds Russian. I mean, if he's fit enough, has got plenty of form on this sort of ground. I mean, just using the excellent going allowance figures on Proform, which I use to judge the going rather than the official going, which is usually a pile of old rubbish. There, I mean, he's had 3 wins on, deep ground. That might blindside a couple of people because official going's been gone twice. It's been giving them soft, but there's no way on times that the sound like Nicky Henderson, don't I? Soft.
Yeah.
But there's no way, at Kelso, when he won there over in a chase, that the ground was soft. It was actually heavy on that day when he won his novice handicap chase. So, I mean, we used to have this thing. I had this conversation with someone the other day about, how, if the horse had been off, I mean, we can all go back a bit in our punting histories. I mean, 20, 25 years ago, maybe even a bit longer, you'd have never backed a horse off, 337 days break. You'd have just looked at it and dismissed it. Now, with modern training methods, and as we saw one this afternoon win, hosed up, didn't it, the first race at Sandown? How long that been off? Roger Till's horse. Yeah, so they can win, and he has got form on this ground. The slight worry is that, as Roger Till said about his horse this afternoon, that you're not quite sure whether they're there, but he's certainly got the form to win this. The one thing I would say, Butch I like as a horse, but he's got no form on really deep ground, and all the other 5 have.
I don't know if the modern training methods have maybe reached Moulton yet, man, Andy.
Well, there is that.
Some of them are still doing stuff because John Porter did it.
Well, there's always that, isn't there? But you can look at some trainers these days and you think, well, I'm not that worried. The thing have been off 2 years, and as we proved this afternoon, they can still win with them. But I don't know what the plan is with Sounds Russian. I mean, he was a very useful, was a very, very useful horse. So he's certainly an interesting one. The only thing I'd throw in there is that say Butch, who I like, the stable's in cracking form at the moment. He hasn't had any form on this ground. That's not to say he won't go on it. And probably out of all of them, he's the horse I actually quite like. But just leaves it a bit of a race with. There's plenty of question marks there, isn't there?
You should make it attritional with a name like Butch, though, shouldn't he?
Yeah, it should be. Yeah, it should be punching the lights out, shouldn't he?
John, if you get a dog and that, you'd be calling it Butch, wouldn't you? Butch. It's kind of.
I'd probably just call it Dog. And then.
What about Digby? You like Digby, don't you? For a dog name, Digby.
That bagel was actually called Danby,
I know, but you kept calling it Digby.
Yeah, and it didn't have to piss the owner off. Because he finished up, he answered to Digby.
Digby, yeah. Right, we move on to the Virgin Bet Grand National Trial, and of course, already spoken on this race. All the bridges, this one. I'll sell you a bridge. Iron Bridge, famous bridge, and of course, I will do it for Andy. The useful Dylan Johnson claiming 5 as well to make his burden that little bit less. To be honest, I've nothing really to add in terms of what you've said. John's right about famous bridge. Doncaster was never the place.
No, just wrote it off, didn't you?
Andy's made the point about the Welsh national form. That could be just on another level at the moment. So yeah, I like the 3 cases made. I do. And one of them, if I'm playing on the machine and its current prices of say 11-2, 6 and 7 or roundabout, that's about 6-4, as Gordon Brun says. The Dutch, the treble Dutch. Well, it's not Dutch, is it? No, it's a trio.
It's a Van Gerwen and a Van Bart and a Raymond.
It's Edam Gouda and a glass of Advocaat, isn't it?
Dick.
Snowball, John.
Yeah.
Bit of Dick Advocaat. I will do it. So there we go. I think 6-4, that is the play. I will lay 4-6, the field. Silver Lining, Credo, Snipe, Yeman, Highland Hunter, Fontaine Collonge, Chambard, and Fullback. You could have 4-6 for those. I'll have 6-4 for those 3. That's the bet for me. Anything more to add on the race than what you not already said? John?
I'll do a Nick Davis.
No, I'll be glad when it's over.
I love Nick's nose. Fantastic. No. Yeah, it's a stern
usually around a fillies race.
It's kind of thing where you see Nick in a bazaar in somewhere like Egypt and and he's being accosted by sellers. You buy, and he goes, no, nope. That's the way to deal with him.
You should record that as a sound clip.
No. I know, yeah, he's legendary. Go to Wincanton for the Kingwell. still named the Kingwell, surprisingly. I'm surprised they haven't named it the something. I don't know. It's strange to see an old name. You see Desi reappear in this, things like this. Do his Gold Cup prep in the Kingwell Hurdle.
You could probably
Didn't they
still
used to
beat
make
these
him
guys.
parade there or something when this meeting was on?
He used to come to this meeting.
They went ticket riding once, didn't they? I thought that was a bit bizarre, really.
Racing was bizarre. It still is to a degree. So I made the case regarding the Colonel Mustard and the Nemean Line forecast, but I'd be very interested to hear both your opinion.
I can't add a lot. My notes just said Colonel Mustard in the library with a candlestick.
And all I can add is that I used to part own a horse called Colonel Mustard, not this one.
Oh, it's a shame. Shame it weren't this one, Andy.
It was a shame it weren't this one because the other one weren't much good, I can tell you. Though he did win a race at Wolverhampton once, so it was a very long time ago. But I take on board what you said about Rubel. You couldn't back Goshen, could you?
No.
With anything.
I wonder who'll get the ITV gig at Wincanton and it's only showing
One race, sure gig, isn't it? One race.
Might send Megs, it's just a little spin up there, isn't it?
It is from Old Ditchy, if she's still based there. I don't know where she's based.
It's Danny Soapy Yankee as well, isn't it, at Wincanton all the time?
Yeah. Not what one in the 417.
So Megs as the roving reporter, I think. Then.
I agree with you, Lee. I couldn't back Rubald at that on those sorts of terms. The Mustard deserves to win a race. It'd be quite nice to see a horse of that ilk win. And Nemean Line he's a tough old sod, isn't he?
Yeah, he's progressive. I think he can go a little bit further. A little bit. I'm not saying he goes much further, but I think he goes a little bit further than what he should.
Yeah.
And I think that's why for the reverse, the old reverse forecast.
I wouldn't disagree.
Good stuff, mate. Right, we move to Ascot for the 4 races there that's shown on TV. Again, a nice card. Certainly, if you've got an opinion, you're going to get rewarded. It's not like you're having to take really, really short odds all the time. So the Reynoldstown, Apple away 6-4, jolly. But as much as I like her, chaps, I think conditions aren't as suitable for her. I believe she's a better mare with more dig underfoot than she's likely to get at Ascot this weekend. And for that reason, I'm with Kilbeg King because that is very good form at Kempton when third to the king, the future king of National Hunt Racing, Ile Francais. And sadly, the poor old Hermes Allen was second, obviously ill-fated Hermes Allen. But Kilbeg King, absolute belter of a run. I am so with him. This track will suit lovely, no negatives. And I think while Apple away, yes, the case can be she's 6-4. I will take her on with Kilbeg King. Andy, your thoughts on this?
I wouldn't mind. I agree. I wouldn't mind taking her on. I'd probably want to play Kilbeg King and Brave Kingdom against her. That would be the because I think his form is pretty good as well.
Yeah, there's no negatives for him.
He looks a really progressive type. I think that run at Newbury last time out. I know he's only beaten 2 small fields, but I think he beat a decent horse in pulling stumps last time out. Theatre Man is a horse mentioning the races in the future. He's really one who needs further. I've got him marked down for a good run in the Ultima. If they run him there, Novices have got a really good record in that race. And when he ran over this, I think when he ran a good third here last time out, and then he ran a good second the time after that in that Novices handicap chase at Cheltenham behind Ginny's Destiny. I think that form works out well, and that leads me back just at the prices. I think you could play a bit of Raymond van Barneveld and oppose Apple away. It's a sort of pseudo lay, isn't it? If you back Kilbeg King and Brave Kingdom.
I like that play. I think that's quite good.
So I think that form is it's both. The both form it's possibly a little bit underrated. Both pieces of form.
Yeah, and at the prices you're getting, instead of having to lay, you 4 to 6 your money if you lay Apple away, say at 6-4, you're getting 6-5 the other two as a pair odds against. So I think that's a better play. Yeah, good stuff. John.
I like Brave Kingdom. It might not be an out-and-out stare at this trip, but I think you've got more pace than the others. Jumps one, he looks progressive. I think I'd side with him.
I like it when horses mess about in front. It's one of my favourite angles for national hunt horses because the worst thing you want is one streaking clear on running and going 14 clear on Billy Idle, rate 123, and then you've got the dilemma whether to back it next time off 139.
Yeah.
I know this is not essentially a handicap, but I'm just saying that I like Brave Kingdom because he saves a bit. And it's good because that means they're looking after themselves physically. They're saying, well, I've done enough now. Thank you very much. And like you say, you don't know where the end line is in terms of progression. I guess we'll find out on Saturday. But yeah, I think we've made
We can't have that jockey on Apple away anyway.
Oh, you hate him, don't you, Derek Fox?
I think he's dreadful.
Sit as far as that, but I know what you're saying. I think
the other day I thought they brought the fucking mounted police back.
Canadian Mounties.
He's one so fucking nationals, hasn't he?
Well, that's it. It's a different style. That's all I will say for Derek Fox fans.
I always think he's Andrew Thornton reincarnated.
I think that's
what
it.
Did I say to you, Ole?
You did. Actually, this is unbelievable, Andy. Yeah, John messages me and he said, fucking hell. He says, what did we used to call like Thornton? The wardrobe. That's what it looked like. Wooden and very, very wooden.
Rode over 1,000 winners, though, didn't he?
Yeah. Oh, I know. Look, this is the thing, Lainsey. I know.
This young game's baffling, man. Baffling.
Yeah.
Apologies to Derek Fox fans, but that's where we're at, I think. We have to have an opinion, of course. And we're allowed to. We're not ITV. You can't sit on the fence. Right, 225 at Ascot is the big handicap hurdle. This is a great race for punters, I think, to get stuck into. I've been incredibly boring with my selection, tipping up a fav. It's dreadful behaviour. So I'd like to get a better perspective maybe on the race. Starting with you, Andy, what do you think on this?
Right, there were two that I thought were quite interested in here. Bearing in mind you went for rare edition and bloggered us off. What's happened with Blogger and William Hill? Never seen him.
Oh no! Well, big announcement from William Hill. Blogger's joining us, and then he's out.
Never seen him.
No,
never seen him. It's who you play with. Well, Blogger ain't been.
Where's Blogger? We'll play a game of Where's Blogger.
Hey ho, never mind.
There we go.
So there were a couple that I was sort of quite interested in at the prices. One was Harry Derham's Monvielle, who was put over fences, and I just don't think that it didn't really suit him, did he? And some of his hurdle form, when you look back at it, is pretty decent, to be honest with you, with Philip Hobbs last year. He was 5th in the Betfair hurdle and in the Imperial Cup, both from higher marks than he's going to be off on Saturday.
Trainer upgrade, Andy?
Well, I would have thought definitely so, because I think young Mr. Derham is certainly going places. He probably just needs to win a couple of big races on a Saturday, but he's the stuff he's got from other stables or the stuff he's inherited from his now assistant trainer, Oliver Sherwood, certainly is running a lot better. So Montville was one that interested me, and the other one was Chemical Nicky's Highland, who I thought had a very nice piece of form, although it was slightly let down by the run of Ed Keeper last time out, who just didn't fire the other week. But that 3rd of 12 at Newbury is quite a decent piece of form. And they were the two that I picked out against the field, Monvielle and Highland.
Can't really knock any of that in terms of what you're saying.
Not an easy race, but I just thought Monvielle was just the one that sort of intrigued me, going, they've taken him back here. He started pretty well for... he actually ran quite well on his first start for Harry Derham. He split JPR1 and ICO at Newton Abbott. But then they had an irregular heartbeat last time out. He lost a shoe. I just think they're coming back to hurdling. You often hear about sort of coaching trees in the NFL, and you look at the head coaches and you see where people who've under them have been. And I just think for all sometimes we have a take the pea out of pumpkin. Sometimes all the people that have worked there under him have gone on and done pretty well. And I don't think that Mr. Derham will be a failure whatsoever.
No, looks good so far, doesn't it? John?
I like Highland. I thought...
Stop agreeing with Richmond for fuck's
I
sake.
Well, mate.
I know.
It's like countdown, isn't it? You know, I've got the same as Andy, and I did it the same way.
Yes, yeah. Here you go.
Fucking Satan. I just thought this was a bit keen last time over the trip. And I think the trip round here should be ideal and get him to drop it. And I think there's still some mileage in the mark because I think if he'd settled better last time, he'd have won. So, yeah, Ireland for me.
Good stuff, right? John and Andy liking Highland. That's a nice
We've
price.
ganged up on you, haven't we?
Yeah, you bastards. That's what we are, yeah. We don't mind. 3 o'clock, Klaxon bet. Of course we've got a Klaxon bet in this. Who wouldn't have a Klaxon bet? You're an idiot if you can't come to the conclusion that Victorino is the likeliest winner, and certainly more than the odds suggest at the time of recording, that Victorino won't give Venetia, who might be dressed in a Komodo and some knee-length boots, for John on ITV, John.
We've not seen the kimono this time around.
Yeah. Do you remember at Cheltenham? I think she was really trying one year. It could have been last year. Every year's the same to me.
I like the fur hats.
Yeah, the big fur hats with all the feathers in them and all that.
Yeah. I like them.
Put me off them.
You like the boots.
You just
John.
like the knee-length boots,
John.
John.
The knee-length boots, John. Leave them on.
You got to be able to get behind them and get out of their hair.
Oh, God. It would descend into chaos. Anyway, so Victorino, the case made from me and Andy, 300 through 5, as I mentioned, he's a bit of an equine wanker. Ironbridge, a likely non-runner. It's Haydock goes ahead. Andy summed all this up very succinctly beforehand. John, so coming to you, what you think?
I'll just chuck an each-way alternative in.
I'll go on.
Just to spoil everything.
Yeah, you love a spoiler.
I know. Revel's Hill goes well round here, and has gone well round here off this mark. Goes well fresh. It's consistent. I don't think there's anything to grab as an each-way poke.
He's more of a place-only thing for me. I mean, he's a bit of a tosser, isn't he? I mean, like the form's good. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know you'll say, "What are you on about?" Like 3 from 15, blah blah blah. But I can remember back in the day when you were winning at Taunton off 122, 129, and you get much bigger in running, Andy, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, on him,
much bigger. And I think that was the beauty with him. It's like when he was off them marks, you could have some right fun with him because you knew he was better than that. He either messed about or he came off it, and a bit of an arsehole, really. And
there were 2 wins at Taunton when he was off marks of 122 and 129. He won both of those with Kevin Brogan on.
Yeah.
And he traded a little bit bigger on both occasions, but you could always tell he was travelling really well. He's not won since those 2, but obviously he's up to higher marks there. Very consistent horse.
Oh, yeah.
And you're probably actually, looking at him, I never like doing this and just using, prices horses are traded at because that's bollocks, basically. But because if you haven't looked at the whole race and how the race is going to work out, but the race probably be run to suit him, and it wouldn't surprise me to see him, come there travelling, as it were. And he certainly ran well last time out. Well, the last time we saw him, which was way back in the old Bet365, wasn't he?
Well, you know me, I love a trade out option.
Yeah, well, I think you've probably got it there, John. To be honest with you.
No, Klaxon wins. Forget John's trading. They can sit there with these. What's that cheese you were on about, John, earlier?
Cropwell Bishop.
So this is another Bar Steward's food recommendation. We've done this from time to time on shows. Explain. So is this potted Stilton?
It looks exactly like Stilton, but it isn't.
Where'd you get it from, John?
Cropwell Bishop.
What shop?
Well, you might have to go online. Specialist cheese shops.
Oh, right. It's not a Waitrose job or anything then, Marks.
They might have it. It's fantastic with plum bread. Absolutely fantastic.
This is better than James Martin on Saturday mornings, isn't it?
Well, Jesus. On too long. Too much and on too long.
So we now recommend Stilton on the show. So this could be something. If you've got an outlet that stocks that, go out there and watch the racing on Saturday with some, what is it called again, John?
Cropwell Bishop.
Cropwell Bishop Stilton. John has napped it beyond belief. He's even said to me privately, if you don't buy this, you're a fucking idiot. That's what he said. So who am I to argue? I shall do that, of course.
The last time I said that to him, City of Troy was going through the sales ring.
I can remember after City of Troy's debut, you said to me, this fucker's gonna conquer everything it encounters, and you did after its debut. Incredible stuff. You had a tip for it as well, John, didn't you, before on City of Troy?
That was the daft thing, because I know this lad that was very friendly with the Gallagher family, not the ones from Shameless, but the one that,
That's all I thought of.
but the one that used to travel the horses for Vincent O'Brien, and never ever hear anything from them as regards horses, because they're tighter than a duck's ass. And funnily enough, in conversation, he said, "Oh, by the way," he said, "the run one at the weekend," he said, called City of Troy, he said, "It's a right fucking horse." And I thought, oh, that's unusual.
Live from India there.
Karachi player.
Yeah. Anyway, right, we move on. Good stories, though. We're full of stories on this show. Yeah. Sermons as well. Every show we do a laugh, and we're all good friends on here. Right, 3:36 race. I don't know why they're timing it like this. The Betfair Ascot Chase. Very valuable prize. Some would say a little bit disappointing turnout in terms of depth. Maybe not, though. I think it's a number of runners, really, but it's an intriguing contest. But I think Lompress is an extremely good horse. I thought he didn't jump as well as Protector last time at Lingfield, still beat him. That, for me, is the pick of things, because whilst Pete Doherty has been making hay against Lesser, I do feel he's more than met his match with Lompress, but the betting suggests so. Andy Richmond.
It's one of those, would you want to back him at that particular price? And I'm not sure, but I must admit, I do like the horse a hell of a lot, and I can't really see him getting beaten. It's whether you want to back him at that price, or do you have to back him at that price? There's a slight worry that the old bounce factor might come into play here. But on balance, if somebody gave me a tenner, I'd probably back him over Pic Doherty and a Hoy Senor, who, I don't know, just can never work the horse out, to be honest with you. But yeah, I probably would. But the bottom line for me is I'd rather sit and watch it and eat some of John's Cropwell cheddar than bet on this race. I'd probably, if I had a tenner to put on the race, I'd buy the Stilton instead of putting it.
Don't buy the cheddar, Andy. You'll be bunged up.
Yeah.
Well, if I had a tenner, I'd probably put it on. I'd buy the cheese rather than put it on Lompress. There you go. But I do. Yeah. I just thought it was a bit strange that they're running him again that quick after that Fleur de Lis race.
I mean, Lompress for me, I think it's a really, really good horse. But of course, we only have to go back to 2022. I know that's quite a long time between drinks. And of course, Lompress was thrashed by a Hoy Senor in the Mildmay. But then, obviously, before that, Lompress beat a Hoy Senor in the Brown Advisory. And who knows? I mean, it's what turns up on the day. Andy, I get it. At 8 to 11, do we really need to play? You can find races at 8 to 11, can't you, where this should be like 2 to 5.
As Nick would say, if you've got the 11, you need the 8.
Yeah, it's a John Lang Stilton race for me also.
It's one of them, isn't it?
Yeah. John, have you anything to add to that?
I kind of wanted it back at Hoy Senor, but then I saw he was jocked up.
Old Del Fox.
Evening, Derek.
Andrew Thornton is jocked up.
Yeah. Have a lovely weekend, Derek.
There we go. I think that sums it up. Right, it's been a real fun show again. You've certainly been given some food advice in terms of what's the right cheese to buy. If nothing else, if we don't give you any winners. And we hope we do, because of course that's what we do on a weekend. And we do get a lot of good feedback from yourselves, and we really do appreciate that when we do well, and we hope it's another good weekend for you. So just to reiterate, there are no Friday shows for the next 2 weeks, and we'll return as normal after those 2-week absence. So that's all from me, John, Andy. Bye for now.